Never let it be said, mate, that Tech 3D doesn't enrich your mortal existence with relatable consumer advice, because in today's video, well, I'm going to be letting you know whether or not you can use something like this on something like this. That's designed to do stuff like this. Yeah, don't worry, I'm not turning into Linus, that's not happening. There's a story to this, right? So, about 5 days ago, I began shooting a video and finished it actually, which was talking about my experiences switching my entire life over to using a mobile workstation. That sounds a bit boring, and it kind of turned out that way. The reason I was shooting that video was because for the last 8 years on this channel, I've been advising people to buy mobile workstations. But over that entire time, myself, I've been using a custom desktop, right? Recently, my desktop's been a 10900K build with a 2080 Ti. But about 5 or 6 weeks ago, I had the opportunity to own a Dell Precision 7760, top spec. It's got the 11th Gen Xeon 11955M 8-core mobile processor. It's got NVIDIA's flagship A5000 GPU, 64 gigs of RAM, 4K HDR display. Objectively, it's just more powerful than my desktop was. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to walk the walk here, right? I'm going to practice what I preach. There's no reason whatsoever why I can't shift over to using this laptop and do what I tell other people to do. So I did just that. 5 weeks ago, I switched everything in my life over from my desktop to this laptop. Not temporarily, I intended fully on using this laptop indefinitely. And the point of this video is to sort of report back on how that had went, right? So in concept and like in theory, it seemed like an interesting idea, right? To sort of report back on what I'm telling other people to do and whether it worked out for me. But in practice, it just didn't really seem like, it wasn't that interesting of a video, to be honest. Like, long story short, I can't keep using the laptop. There's a lot of deal-breaking audio issues with the Precision, which really are only relevant to me. That's why the video was scrapped, because a lot of the issues aren't relevant to most people that watch my videos, right? Using the Dell Universal Dock as a charger causes electrical interference through my XLR microphone, which not many people really do. You're not YouTubers. And then, you know, anything that was good about it, it's like, well, of course it's good. It's a $6,500 laptop. Of course it's the best in the world. So, one thing I've been doubling down on over the last year or so is this concept of work and play, right? Using one system is your work machine during the day and then using the same thing to play your games on in the evening. And that's a big thing for me because I love my driving simulators, and I was really worried about losing out on that by shifting to this laptop because it's got what was the Quadro line in it. And historically, you've not been able to game on Quadros because of the lack of game ready drivers. So when I started experimenting with that, I was genuinely surprised at the results that I was getting out of this laptop. Like, really surprised, in fact. So much so that was the only really interesting part of the video that was scrapped. So I thought I'll pull that out and I'll make a video out of it, and that's what we're doing here. Right, before I get into how this all performs, I'll take you through the gear first, mate, because inevitably we'll get questions on what the gear is. So there's the permanent residence of the 7760 with a rat's nest of cables behind it, because I can't use the dock, which is one of the real nuisances of all this. It's a workstation replacement, so I use an external display. It's the Dell U4990DW. So when I want to use VR, I do have to completely turn off that monitor for VR to be enabled, which first world problem, but it does grind down on you a little bit sometimes. Apologies for the flickering. I'm just using auto mode on this camera. But the TV that I use when I am doing the driving simulators, and it's not VR, it's the Samsung NU8000, because that's got 120 Hz mode at 1440p, which is really nice for driving simulators. It's also 4K 60, but that's rigged up as well to the laptop, and that's nice to use as well for driving sims. The cockpit itself is the next level racing F1 GT, and it's up for replacement. It's awful. Like, it's really cheap and tatty. Like, yeah, it's not the best cockpit actually. I hate it, to be fair. Like, I really hate it. It's a bad driving position. It's cheap, thin, flimsy, rattly, squeaky. But the hardware itself that I've got is really high end. This is the Fanatec Podium DD2. It's a direct drive motor with an emergency stop button. That thing there, because the wheelbase puts out so much torque that you can actually cause yourself physical damage if you do things a bit dangerously with this wheelbase. So it's got an emergency stop button. But yeah, that's the Podium DD2 wheelbase. So this is the Fanatec Formula V2 rim. And then I've got the Club Sport shifter. This is an H pattern shifter. And then that's the Club Sport V3 pedals. They're really good quality pedals, those things actually. I really enjoy those. And then all of that gear is connected via USB into the laptop, which is then obviously piped into the Valve Index or onto the TV. To start, we're going to Assetto Corsa, specifically the Nürburgring Snowy Nodes and the Formula RSS Hybrid 2021. Legally different to a Formula 1 car, mate, but in tribute to Sir Frank Williams, who sadly passed, we are rocking a Williams livery. Mark of respect for him as he passed last weekend. Assetto Corsa it's my spiritual home. It's where I go to for just relaxing, right? When I need a bit of downtime. I always want this game to run at its best. So when I kind of took over with the Precision, it was the first thing I went to. I needed to make sure that this ran using that laptop, and I wasn't expecting it to, but it kind of did. So let's just show you what kind of results I got with this. So bear in mind, this is running at 1440p. I've got a full grid of cars here. All texture settings are kind of maxed out. Shadows are sort of middle of the road. I've intentionally dialed those down. Reflections are about middle of the road, but MSAA is at 4x. World quality is at max. But more importantly, things that affect graphical demand more than those. I have custom shaders patch on, which is at stock settings, and I've got the Sol weather add-in as well, which are pretty demanding mods, mate. And we're running it between 60 and 100 FPS on a Precision with what was a Quadro card. Even more important than that is I'm screen recording. I'm running OBS in the background, which is recording on this laptop. That chews about 40 to 50 FPS off of this. So if I wasn't recording, I'd probably be getting about 100 to 150 FPS. Easy. Last week, the week before, I had the Alienware M15 Ryzen edition in. That had the GeForce RTX 3070 GPU in with Game Ready Drivers on. And I ran the Assetto Corsa benchmark test. It's got a canned built-in stock loop benchmark test, which is a track day at Spa. This runs Assetto Corsa better than the Alienware. It's stock settings at 1440 and 1080 at different quality, at any level. How's that possible? Okay, I need to dial in my force feedback settings. Oscillating like a mother hubbard. Spring, like, look at that. I need to dial that in. What's going on? I should be moving on to the next simulator now. This is so much fun. Honestly, this RSS Formula mod is so well done. It is better done than the official franchised, licensed Formula 1 game. But that was something that I really needed to check and verify was okay for this laptop, and it is, and some. So on to the next sim. And the next sim, be RaceRoom, mate. This is my competitive go-to simulator. So Assetto Corsa is like I said, it's my chill out one. This is I'm feeling kind of fruity. I want to compare myself against the best in the world, right? Professional racing drivers come to RaceRoom to practice before like real actual driving championships. So I'll come to this one to test against those guys. Yeah, you can tell it doesn't look as pretty as Assetto Corsa. So it's the same track, it's still the Nordschleife. You know, sometimes there's something to be said about not getting too bogged down in how good it looks and just focusing on the physics. So RaceRoom's the one I come to when I really want to test myself. Cheeky. But all right, mate. Okay, aggressive. That was a bit uncalled for. Performance-wise, what we're getting here, I haven't been looking. 120 plus. That's more than enough. I'm not sure what we'll get with a full grid of cars, but yeah. Again, bear in mind we are screen recording, and that's going to chop another 50 plus FPS off of the counter. Whilst I wasn't screen recording around the Nords, I was getting 200 FPS plus on the Precision, which was more than alright. I'm just going to cut the corner now, I don't care. I'm not really doing this competitively. Yeah, it's not a detail-rich sort of a simulator, which I appreciate for this one. You just want to focus on the driving on this one. Performance-wise, really good. Same with VR. I rarely play these, I rarely play RaceRoom anyway on the TV. It's always in VR. I've gave that a shot. Easy 90 FPS to the index. Just need to dip some of the graphical settings down, which again, I was not expecting. On with the next one. Right, and then we're going to look at Formula 1 2021. I just don't want to. I hate this. I hate this game so much. This is the worst driving game that's ever been created under such a prestige license, squandered by a pack of mooks for a consistent number of years. You know, be allowed to copy and paste an absolute mess of it. I mean, what's happening? What's happening? Why does the car just spin and rotate? It's like rotation spinning simulator. No, that doesn't happen. Oh my god, I can't do this. Yes, come on, Neil, you can, keep going. Right. Oh my god, no. Right, keep it together. This is intolerable. It's the most intolerable mess of a game that I've ever had. It's like they've never seen how a car works, especially a Formula 1 car with downforce. Right, so we're getting 70 to 80 plus FPS, 1440p, and bear in mind this is ultra high settings with screen recording. So the reason I chose this game is because it's got a canned benchmark, and I had the Alienware laptop in not too long ago, the Horizan edition with a RTX 3070 in. Ran the benchmark on that. Precision got a significantly higher score in the benchmark than the Alienware again. I didn't know what to make of it, you know. It got my mind thinking that can't just be brute force of the A5000, because that was against a 3070, which is no slouch. Yeah, 70 to 80, and that's pretty impressive, I guess, you know, for a game that looks as bad as this does. It's oversaturated, cartoony mess. I mean, what is happening? I can't. Right. But there is one thing that I just kind of curiously found before. I haven't looked too much into it. This has got ray tracing. I suppose this is all to do with graphics, really, but the game's got ray simulations. So what a bunch of jokers. At least I've got a sense of humor. You know, when you criticize this game, people jump out at in its defense. It's not a simulation when it suits them. They've got ray tracing built into the engine, allegedly. So I'll put that at ultra high. And they ray trace shadows and they ray trace reflections, allegedly. So when you turn on ray tracing and crank it up, you do take a graphical hit. So we've dropped down to sort of 40 to 50. But, you know, if we turn on the chase camera, I find this just all a bit of a lie. Now, ray tracing's not subjective. The whole point of it is it's an objective thing. Ray trace reflections, it's reflecting the environment around you. So I'm about to go under a huge bridge. Look at the bodywork of the car. Where's the bridge? There's no tracing of the rays of the bridge in the bodywork of the car right there at all. In fact, let's drive past this red wall. Right, where's the reflection of the red wall on the bodywork of the car? There is none. We're going over blue. Where's the blue in the car? There's none. Grandstand, there's nothing there. They're basically using a skybox reflection on the bodywork of the car, and there is nothing ray traced about this. Maybe the light from the sky is ray traced, is just a white specular patch on the bodywork. But that's a bit misleading, isn't it? What was even the point of implementing ray tracing and taking a performance hit for literally what you're looking at right there? You can't even see the light source. Right, if I point the car, if you look at the shadow direction on the ground, right, let's point to where the shadow is in line with the car, which is there. So the sun is directly ahead. Where's the sun? What a dreadful game. It's awful. Utter garbage. Like the smoke stuff. Like you do a little bit of a donut, and all of a sudden it's like there's a friggin' house fire around you. A tiny little spin. It's like, oh, I hate it so much. It's appalling. But I digress and move on and get out of this because I can't stand it. Let's try something else. Right, so we're going to go into Forza Horizon 5. So I've put about 20 hours into this since having the Precision. It's all I've ever actually played Forza Horizon 5 on.
I've mostly been playing it on the ultra wide rather than the TV, and it's ran quite well actually. I've had quite a few crashes in the early days, but another instance of where the Precision has outperformed the Alienware. It's got a CAN benchmark. I've run it on both the Precision and the Alienware, and the Precision performs better at Forza Horizon 5 than an Alienware with a 3070, which I find utterly staggering. So you can see the FPS at the top corner. That's not bad, mate, that is. If I got my wheels set up, I don't think I have. What kind of graphical settings we got in here? I don't actually know. Probably quite high. Yeah, high. Yeah, that's pretty good actually. Again, screen recording Forza Horizon 5, and we're getting 120 FPS. But yeah, like I said, this is another game where it outperformed the Alienware, and I found that just staggering. Oof, I thought that wheel was going to murder me.
Hey mate, gonna knock that on the head there, that's all I've got. Just before I wrap this up, just a couple of words. I need to sincerely apologise to both myself and you, the viewer, for that choppy, disgraceful mess of screen recording footage that happened towards the end. I tried everything in my power to fix that over the course. I mean, it took dozens of hours to record this video. It was a disaster. But I had all Windows power plans, Dell power plans, NVIDIA power plans. Everything was at max performance. I've never seen anything like that before. But just predicting, I don't know, just nipping this in the bud before it sort of starts. This was covering workstations, playing games. You can make that link and just go, wow, you've changed. No, that's not what this was about. Right? I kind of made it clear at the start that this was more about, I'm trying to pick myself a workstation, and I need to make sure that when I'm in my spare time, it'll do what I need it to do. And I was sort of taking the channel along with me for the ride. This is more about me making content that I enjoy and that I find interesting. That's what this was about. And there's big changes to the channel coming soon that I need to do more of that. But yeah, if anything to take away from this, it's more, I guess, that, you know, if you're going to get lumbered with a workstation in the future, in the past, that meant, yeah, it sucks to be you. There's going to be no playing games for you. Now, it doesn't seem to be the case. Those Game Ready drivers, there's not so much of a reliance on those anymore. They will play games pretty well, you know, so if that's something you enjoy doing, you're not completely stumped. There we go. That's all I've got, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks very much. Doodles.